Good evening. You're listening live to the Extreme Movie Show. I am your host, Rob, broadcasting to you from the Pinos Palace, just west of Orlando, Florida. From the great Midwest, RDD is joining me as usual. Tonight we're covering Season 2, Episode 10 of Landman, the season finale. Tragedy and Flies, or Flies and Tragedy. I don't know. It's kind of a shitty title, but not a shitty episode because this one's very good. And RDV, I watched this
Mm-hmm.
just a few hours ago, and I got to tell you, it'll be interesting as we go through this episode talking about some of the things we thought may or may not happen. But I think taking a step back and just kind of looking at this episode in general, I'm going to call it a no fluff, no filler episode, no mullet man, none of that kind of stuff.
No.
But for the most part, some of the stuff that was done pretty shitty, they made right. And they really hit on a couple things that you and I speculated on. Overall, I thought it was a pretty, and I don't want to sound too cheesy when I say this, it's almost a pretty moving episode and a fitting kind of way to end the season where I think there's everything's kinds of leaves it wide open for season 3 and allows you to kind of forget about everything. In other words, there's nothing you have to forget about or anything you have to come back to. You kind of knew where some things were going to go, and it's happy to see it progress.
Yeah.
I was surprised how well this episode ended this season because there's always some things in the middle of the season that we go, I don't know. But boy, they really put a nice bow at the end of this one. They finished it correctly. They didn't have to hit a home run, but they hit a bunch of singles and won the game. And boy, I thought it was pretty damn good. What did you think?
I thought it was really good because I love how there's so many of friendships. People who hate each other in the beginning, the first season, they're now kind of like forced to work together. And just when it was fantastic. You could feel the tension through the whole entire episode. You got a guy who basically lost his job. Now he's thinking last minute, I don't have enough in me for another home run. I can't do this. I can't start over, but I don't want to retire either. And he's trying to keep his time. The whole episode, he's trying to keep his composure. The last time in 2008 when this happened, he went and spent his whole entire day in a bar drinking. And it's just one thing after another. I love it because it's like as a Tommy, he's just like, okay, I'm trying to do this, and he's like, there's a lot of funny scenes in here too. And there's
But
a lot.
it's classic Tommy, right? We always
Yeah.
like to see how much shit he gets on his plate, and
Yeah,
he got it
he's
all
like,
this episode.
oh my gosh, he did. So Cooper and Ariana decide they're going to go to report the attempted rape. So they do this in there, and of course, after they take all the pictures of her, and she looks way worse than what she did. What we saw earlier. She's got the bruises on her and stuff.
You know what? And it looked good in that it made me feel a little uncomfortable where they had the bruises and the scratches on her arm or back or thigh and all that stuff and all that. Yeah, I thought this was done well, even though it was sort of predictable. The outcome, it was still done very well. I agree with you totally.
Yeah. So then after this, you see Cooper gets called into these two detectives want to basically talk to him, And remember I told you how the video came into play? Well, they start railroading him. These two detectives, and I can point out one of them was actually was from the Smallville, or not Smallville, but Supergirl and Lois show, Superman and Lois show. He played crap, what's his name, man? He's the one that ends up marrying Lana. He's Steel was the guy's superhero name by there. But anyway, it was because I was looking at him. I'm like, because who's it? I've seen this guy before. And anyway, and watching them, they start kind of leaning into him, and I'm thinking like, okay, this is kind of going where I thought I was gonna go. They're gonna railroad him, and then they're like gonna try to pin a murder charge because apparently they said, like, how many times did it take you to stop this guy? And I was like, well, you punched him 17 times. He's like, what? Yeah, there's a camera, and that seems like a little excessive and stuff. And like, well, it's like, okay, but he's like, the guy died. They left out the part of the fact that I had a heart attack, and all this stuff. And this was just trying to like pin
it's typical cop behavior.
Yeah. They didn't care because it's revealed later on, is someone higher up. They didn't like the fact that this rich tycoon CEO guy, was murdered in a back alley. It doesn't sit right with the company stuff, and so that's Cooper is looking about to be charged with murder. So Ariana calls up Rebecca, and Rebecca speeds down there, pretty much. And I love this. This is probably where Rebecca is probably one of the best moments for season 2. Is her just coming in there and just chewing these guys' ass out. Now, some people say, like, it's kind of unbelievable. How did she get the information on this one officer and stuff, his bad cases, and when she's driving? people forget that it's like they cut away from them doesn't mean we don't know how far away she was. And TV time, it's shorter to take places to get places, but it's TV though, so you're supposed to suspend your logic a little bit. And hello to Aaron Gonzalez, what's up? So that was kind of like she comes in there and she pretty much is like, hey, you're gonna charge my client for defending his fiance, you piece of shit. And it's like, really? We're gonna go into you. You shot a guy about 11 times. The first bullet in the chest. So I love that she kind of rid them, like, shoot them their asses out. But so that was a great movie for Rebecca and Ariana, kind of like, bonding a little bit.
This whole scene, I thought, again, even if we know how it plays out, you and I've talked, offline about how, legally these things go and stuff, right? So that was interesting because they give her the ability to look like when you're in sports, if you don't have like if you're a tennis player, you don't have a good backhand. Well, you try not to hit it, right? You just have a good enough one, but you try to play to your strengths. And that's what they did here. They let her come in here. They allowed them to be together. And I thought, okay, to your point, when you mentioned relationships, some askew, some not so much, some maybe we don't like where they're at or where they're going or how they've been. But the thing is everything got pulled together after you see this scene, or really an earlier one, in a positive direction. So again, I hate to sound kind of old school here when I say that's a bit wholesome to see, but that's what she does best. When she walks in there and just gives everybody shit, and she says, I wreck relationships, I blah, blah, and she's leaning over there. And I'm like, I just wanted to applaud because I thought, man, what a tremendous energy and effort from her, considering I go, wait a minute, I've totally, remembered the reason why I fell in love with her character and the strength and energy she has, as opposed to watching the flip side, the human side with Mullet Boy, which to me that just wasn't going anywhere. I understand it, didn't like it, but this is her strength, and it was so perfect.
I don't think he's coming back. I think
he may not.
Or
we'll see him in limited capacity, and maybe he becomes a bad guy on the other side. I don't know yet.
I don't know either.
I'm glad we didn't see him though.
Yeah, but so that's going on, and she also called TL or Tommy or TN. She called him and said, like, hey, your son's being charged for murder. Like, what? So he's like, well, yeah, I can't make it down there, but he's like, hey, he calls the sheriff, because she says, like, if you have any sway with people here, because they take the court, I don't know if they're gonna side with a corporate boy or gonna side with a a regular kid, So anyway, so he ends up calling the sheriff, which I love. That's Mark Dole, I think his name is. Okay. I think that's what his name is. Hold on a second, because that actor, I was looking it up because he's the guy who plays the sheriff of the town. Mark Collie. Mark Collie. If you don't remember the Thomas Jane Punisher movie, he's the guy with the guitar.
Okay.
Did you ever watch that movie?
No, it's been a while.
He was the hitman they called in. That John Travolta called in to take them, and he plays a song from in the diner, and then later on when he comes out on the bridge, and that's when he causes Thomas Jane's Punisher to flip his car.
Okay,
because shoots at him. So I always remember for that because I thought that was such a stupid scene where he flips the car for no reason. That's why I remember Mark Collie. But yeah, so he calls me and says, like, dude, it's like, hey, set up a thing with the police chief and the county and stuff, and now or 3 o'clock I'll be there, Tommy wants to nip this in the bud, make sure then nobody's gonna be change their minds in case they're thinking they're gonna go against his son for this bullshit. So that's going on. Tommy in the beginning though, he grabbed because it's the way the episode started off. That was interesting too. Tommy's sitting in his father's chair outside by the pool. He's like, "You're in my chair, you son of a bitch." Gets up and go out there. He's like, and he's like,
because he hasn't told his wife, and so
he's told anybody.
Man, now I gotta sit down with my dad and see what the hell's going on.
Yeah. He's like, I got fired. He's like, what? He's like, yeah, and basically, I got the things he's gonna plan up. He's gonna do. So he goes after he talked to his dad and having a little chat and stuff. He's like, but first of all, he's like, what's with the tit and ass?
What are you referring to?
Because Cheyenne Penny stayed the night. She's in her little underwear, little panties, little thong panties. and walking around in there, and Nate's like, and like, and I love this because Tommy says to Nate, he's like, "What? You think you've been out, but you'd be used to seeing women in their underwear in this house this whole time." And he went out there and kind of chewed out his dad. He's like, "What is that?" He's like, and he's like, "What?" I was like, "Fuck." First of all, fuck you, it's none of your business, and fuck you, it's none of your business.
I thought that was funny.
I was like,
I was like, to think it was possible.
he's like, I got to sleep in there, whole arm, so a beautiful one, the first time in 50 years. That wicked things at me. He's like, I'm sure it did. And then she had mentioned Shirley about, she's like, hey, he asked what she was doing there, and she's like, well, remember you said hand job, implying that TL might have got some. We don't know, but so that's going on with them. And then Tommy goes over to what was it? Nate and says, like, I need to see those contracts, those ones that do that for the wells, the 6 wells that Cooper was originally doing.
Yes.
And he's like, I need let me sign and stuff so we can get it and all, because he basically wants to take those things and not give it to Cammy, and he wants to take it over to Dallas. And he goes to meet with a buddy of his, and this is I think this is the actor that was in I'm trying to remember, was it Eureka?
Yeah, Colin or something, Ferguson or something. Absolutely. Eureka's a pretty interesting show. I've gotten through a season or 2 of that recently, but he's always pretty strong in there. And I liked how they brought him back, because they had planted the seeds early on, like they did with some of these small characters we still yet to talk about in this episode. And he was the one that they talked about deals. And he seems like a straightforward, decent person to do business with, which is what it is. And they have a great conversation here during lunch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and of course, because he's basically, Tommy talks to me, he's like, I got these things got here, he's like, well, what you're talking about, Tommy, is like, if I give you money and stuff, this is legally still textiles or MTech stuff. It's called embezzlement. I can't get involved. Everything I do is a publicly traded company, so I can't help you with that. So Tommy's all pissed off now, and he decided
clearly he's trying to do something, and it's a scene for the watcher of the TV show to understand the legality of what's going on.
Yeah, so exactly. So then he's like, okay, well, he's like, dear God, let me do, help, because on the way to Dallas, he's like, basically he's like, well, don't tempt me, God, because his wife finds out what's next, and then a big whole pile of car wreck happens up. And it's just crazy when it comes like this, because like he's left untouched, but the semi truck hits another car right next to him, and he's just like. So then after this, he ends up going over to what we know he's going to do. He's going to make a deal with the devil, as the original deal with Galano.
Yeah,
and Galano,
the devil. I'm sorry, I was wanting to interject for a minute.
Yeah.
I'm kind of stunned here because this show, I've done a lot of different TV shows, right?
Yeah.
And I know young 20-something folks, I've done a few others as well, different types of content. And I should have probably prefaced this episode by saying, minus some TNA, meaning actual nudity, this felt like an 80s show, because not only do we get training cheerleader montages and music and all sorts of stuff here, you get some high drama. I mean, this is basically like what people thought of Dallas, from the 70s going to 80s with, the Ewing clan and everything going involved. That, again, I had saw it when I was younger, don't remember it, so I don't know how much it authentically compares to it. But I could tell you, for anybody that thinks, all my thoughts about Cheyenne, maybe eventually turning on them and being a plant because she's a stripper, they even put her in a wholesome light here. So the scene that I wanted to reference was when the father says to Tommy, he's like, she literally had a bad battery, so she slept. Literally, that's all that happened. So we're going to go fix it. When they walk outside to the house and she's staying in her same panties and cut off t-shirt, you would see a lot of that kind of stuff in the 80s with jeans and t-shirts. But for them to sit there while she's changing it, waving to everybody, I thought, okay, that's good. She's got some balls on her. Right? She's got some spunk. I like that rather than just being a stripper. So it's kind of subtle because, look, they honor her figure because, let's face it, in my opinion, it's a straight 10. I thought this was on par, and maybe I'm going too far saying this because some younger people might be haters of this. I thought it exceeded the whole Transformers working on my Camaro scene. But that's just me.
Oh, the Megan Fox thing.
Megan Fox thing, like prime Megan Fox.
Megan Fox was like it was like a G-rated compared to this.
Yeah, but this still,
But
this show knows what it's doing.
I'm not shocked anymore because how much Ainsley walks around in her underwear all the time outside too. So it didn't really bother me. You know, I was like, okay, I'll get another. It's another Ainsley. You know.
Now Ainsley cheerleader camp says she's got to eat half a sandwich or a sandwich, but we'll get to that.
Yeah. So
Tommy went to go make a deal with the devil. I apologize.
Tommy goes to Galeno, and Galeno originally had. She started off his day. His wife said, "Oh, I'm having lunch with Tommy's wife," and he's like, "Oh." Because he's like, well, you better answer questions with questions because he doesn't know if his wife knows that he got fired, you know. So he didn't want to cause any waves, you know. And so the wife has it, and then she eventually kind of slips the bean to Tommy's wife, and then Tommy's like, what? It's like, and then she calls him screaming at him. It's like, what's going on? And he's like, honey, I'm not gonna come to you unless I have a solution. I fix things for a living. So I'm not going to come to you. Don't worry. At the end of the day, we'll talk about it. You know, it's a shit day, you know, and she's talking about how she's having a shit day too, because Ainsley decided to stay up and, up where she was because the cheerleader camp, she ends up, her and the non-binary kid that's up there, for a roommate, they make bends. Because some young teenage boys are basically making fun of the non-binary character in the show, and Ainsley sticks up for the kid.
I like how they did this,
and then
they walk up to him and they call the kids on it.
Because at first before the kids though, because that she was that non-binary girl, whatever, was basically like whispering to the other guy there because she's one of the trainers there, or water boy or water girl, whatever. Yeah. Anyway. And I'm thinking like, oh, she's gonna try and bully her, harass her, make fun of her and stuff. I wasn't sure what was going on, but it went a totally different route. She actually helped out. Ainsley says like, yeah, you need to strengthen your ankles. So she wraps Ainsley's ankles up, and Ainsley's just kind of like, what, you know, and stuff. So at the end, after Ainsley accepts up for it,
it was pink tape too. Did you notice?
Yeah. It was like purple tape.
Yeah.
Anyway. Those two actually make amends, and they're gonna give it another shot. You know, the other one apologizes to Ainsley. And now they're gonna basically try to make do in the room, you know. So then Ainsley tells her mom, she's like, "Well, I'm not coming." And she's like, "I drove all the way out here, the Midvale, whatever it is, you know. I'm driving back, you know, by myself." She's like, "Well," he's like, "How much you meet me at this, you know, and then we'll leave your car there at the plane." Because here's the thing, Tommy's like, "Well, fuck Cammy, she doesn't know about the plane yet. I'm gonna keep using it as much as I want."
But we don't know what he has in mind, and they're saving that for the end because some of the loose ends here, like with the cheerleading camp, she's training and all that. And I, from a sports guy background, it was interesting to see the girls doing what you call interval training, some slow stuff and some fast stuff. That's slightly
squats, and then lunges.
Yeah, and then the one girl says to her, "Oh, it's just a warm up. It's not even the actual."
Yeah, right.
This is not a one-time thing, right? This is going to be probably her angle.
Sure.
But when the boys come up and they're standing there hooting and hollering, they're doing what guys do.
High school boys.
Exactly, and they look kind of young and dopey, so they're standing
they're
there.
Like 15, 16, maybe even that, you know. And
high schoolers still look a lot younger and dopier than they did back in the day.
And I love Ainsley's it's like, oh, you think hollering and harass people is you're gonna get with us? You have no chance. He's like,
she's like, okay, prove it to me.
Prove it. And she's like, oh,
like what? And she's like, yeah, whip it out.
Yeah,
and
mine's
her pinky or her pinky finger out. Just holds up. She goes, I bet this is bigger. It just humiliates them. She's like, you boys all come in here doing all that kind of stuff. You're gonna do it on your bikes. She's belittling them, right?
Yeah,
and
it's like you don't have a chance.
The closest you're ever going to get come. So just get your stuff and get out of here. And I'm like, there you go, Ainsley. There you go.
Like I said, this is another point. You had Rebecca and you have Ainsley sticking up, you know, and just doing stuff. There's a lot of
gets to be strong.
Yes. We have Nathan he's called up to go to Fort Worth, and he's like, well, and Tommy's like, well, you know what that means? Cammy's going to try to make you her president, you know,
right?
You know, and Nate, you know, and Dale, before this even they left the house, Dale had said, like, he's like, well, fuck it. You want me to quit, Tommy? I heard about the shit. I'll go where you go. We've been here for 20 years. Fuck her.
Right.
And it shows how, and I love that because Dale is just such a loyal guy. They all are. Nathan goes up to there at the thing. Cammy's like, well, I figured out where all the money and the stuff and the records are because I found it in the basement. And he's like, you know, it's like, well, and Nate's like, because he probably doesn't want if there's ever a raid or seized by the FBI or whatever, he can destroy the evidence.
Right.
She's like,
Nothing
well, she's like,
electronic.
and she's like, I love it. Cammy's like, well, do you think we should scan it on there? He's like, I don't have an opinion. He's like, why? She's like, well, she's like, as a president, you should have an opinion. He's like, I can't give you an opinion because I quit. And she's all dumb fucked. So she fucked up really big. She fucked up because
how do you think? I thought it was smart of her to do it the way she did.
It's the way she treated
Gauge
Tommy,
how he was doing them. You know what I mean?
The way she treated Tommy, and she thought that Nathan was going to be loyal to her. The way she humiliated him. And just
this was his strongest performance in terms of not seeming
Nathan,
like such a wuss.
I love when Nathan says here, he's like, Tommy, he's like, you don't like Tommy, but Tommy, this company was designed for you to sell it. That's why that Bonnie designed it. It was never meant for you to kill onto it. So why don't you? And Tommy was doing what his friend wanted him to do, is to get it, sell it for you.
And
yes, when his wishes and the loyalty, and so she ends up just So she's all alone because her greed got her nothing. Because Tommy's now over going to see Galeno, and he says, "Hey, he's like, and basically, is that deal still up? I want to go. I got the wells here, stuff, the lease here, the rights here. You and I will work together, and we'll do 50-50. But first, because he got all these. It's just my son bought up all his 18 different land up around this area here too. He's already struck on 6 in a row. Mm-hmm. It's like and use back us, give us 40 million, and then you back us, we'll be able to and I guarantee we'll make more money with us than you will be wasting a crapshoot and losing money. 400 million, if you're 400 million you invested in Cammy, there's no way, because because you're offshore, you got to deal with all these different what ifs and stuff. And I love how Andy Garcia is like, well, what are your what ifs? It's like, well, it's simple. It's like all the costs is like, hey, it's like, if you stick with us, whatever money you lose with Cammy, we'll pay you back in 3 years.
He's bluffing in a way because he does not hold the cards. He's not in the position of power. He wants what Galeno's able to give. And I do like Galeno because remember all the stuff that you'd mentioned early on at the beginning of season 1 about, man, do we really need all the stuff from the cartel in Mexico and all that? And that's what he's supposed to represent. They showed him and his wife talking a little bit, because that's another thing that happens when they meet his wife for lunch. The wives meet for lunch or like that. And she mentions about him being fired, and she calls him up, and it's just, you really see every scene that he's in where the pressure's building with the biggest thing after another possible murder, which is honestly, that's to me is not 100% completely done.
We also learned this issue, or this episode, that Galeno discusses everything with his wife.
Yes, she knows it all.
So the whole cartel thing, I wonder. So they're gonna work together. He shakes it and it gives him the check and stuff, and it says like, the first was it the first? It's 70-50, whatever. You'll group their 20% or whatever, and then it's like, then we're 50-50 partners. After that, and so Tommy's got the deal and stuff, and he goes back on the plan, throws a name. He's like, here, I want you to draw up, because Galeno's like, who am I write this out there? He's like, well, what did he say it was? It was like,
was it TTC and cattle?
Yeah, TTC and
initials of the family
oil exploration cattle. He's like, what's with the cattle? He's like, well, this I don't have, I can't. The legality of the search term is for to get an LLC and whatever. So I'm just gonna put the cattle on there as a temporary placeholder. And I love this because it becomes a running joke later on, and we're like, what the fuck is the cattle part? So Nate draws it up, and he says, Nate, you're because Nate says, well, I quit. So cool. Well, guess what? You're now the treasurer of this company, and and your first act is to basically guys cash just check and stuff and file it and stuff for a new LLC. And then so as Tommy is basically as he stops over by Ariana and Cooper and talks to them. And he's like, I need to.
I'm looking at that lawn going, man, you have nothing on Florida grass. That's crap. There, you're mowing that. Get out of here.
I said that's like, how long does it take you to freaking mow that lawn?
Yeah, come
I,
on.
I would have it cut within like 5 minutes.
Exactly.
I have like 40 of that. So he's out there, and here's the one thing about this: when you're in the middle of winter and you hear someone cutting the lawn, as much as I hate cutting the lawn, I miss that noise. It means it's warm weather's around.
Right.
Oh, it's so freaking cold up here. I'm like, the only thing I hear up here is the sound of the snowblower. I hate that. So he's out there on the lawn, and he calls the man and says, "Cooper, don't worry about it." He's like, "Well, I killed that guy." He's like, "Dude, shut up! Don't ever mention that to your wife or anyone else again. Yourself. Like, and I need to come with me." Like, okay. He's like, "But I got the babe here," and he's like, "Bring them all along. They're gonna want it." So they go out to this oil well out there.
Well, what he says in the car, I thought was a great written line where he says, "I need you to Gen Z that thing on your phone and get blah 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 blah
Yeah,
blah."
Yeah, in a group chat,
there.
Group text, yeah.
Good. That's really good.
Yeah, and he's going through the contacts. So he's like, I need to get to the stripper's name. He's like, he's like, which one, Jasmine stuff? And he's like, and Tommy says like, hey, those are work things, He's like, and like Ariana's in the background, kind of gives a little nod. Sure, they are. I thought that was a cute moment between those two. I really don't like Ariana as much, but I thought she did really well this episode.
You know what? That's exactly my thoughts, because the thing about her is I like her being a strong woman. Obviously, she had some tragedy with her original husband passing, being a widow and all that too. But we did get reminded here in the conversations where he says he has that kind of southern drawl thing that in Texas is a little different than in Florida or Carolinas or Georgia. But he's like, I need you to sit down. We need to talk. And, I love you. We're getting married, right? She's like, well, yeah, where are you going with this? She sounds kind of pushy. She's like, shut up. Just let them fucking talk. Because I still don't like their stuff. But I like the fact that his balls dropped here a little bit. And he says, I ain't telling you what to do, but, I don't want you working at the patch. And if you find something that tricks your fancy, whatever he says and all that too, he goes, I'm your biggest supporter. I love you, blah, blah. And I thought, what a very mature thing to say, but he needed to be assertive himself, because honestly, out of all the characters in this episode, not that he was the weakest relative, because
he didn't have any character growth.
Exactly. And the problem with that is that I got so enraged with the police stuff, because I thought if there's one state here, especially, I'm from Florida, so we like to think we're tough down here.
Yeah.
When I look at how cops are, and have known plenty of them and all that kind of stuff, they totally railroaded him. He had no idea. He was trying to do the right thing. He was still fucking naive. And I thought at some point something bad's got to happen to him, so that person can come through. And it kind of didn't.
Yes, yeah, especially when Rebecca's on the phone with Ariana, and she's like telling Ariana, "Here, put my speaker, walk in the room, don't say anything." And he's like, and of course, the detective,
so good.
Detective's like, "Why the fuck are you in here?" And she's like, she's quiet. I'm his lawyer, and what you guys do here without anything he said to you is inadmissible in court, because I was not present. And you also violated his laws. You did not read him his rights at all.
Yeah.
I said, yeah. So.
Well, she goes. He goes to be a smartass with her, because it's his room and he's doing it, and he doesn't want this woman coming in, barge in, interrupting.
Yeah.
And she says something, and he makes this comment. She goes, "Excuse me, let's all raise hands here in this room. Who's got a law degree?" Oh wait, it's just me. And then she rips him a new asshole. But here's the thing I like about that. They didn't just stop. She literally goes to each person, reads them a fucking riot act in a slow and controlled manner, and it wasn't her being out of control. It was serious to the point which was not seen for the whole season. So the point is when they're doing a scene like this, like they did with Cheyenne, showing her body a lot, he's saying this is what the character is, and I'm making sure you know that. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's about how it used to be back in television. You just didn't do it once and expect everybody to know it. And we're being reminded of just how much of a firebrand she can be. And it just really gets under your skin if you've known people that have been in situations.
This is Rebecca,
whatever, And then Billy Bob Thornton, when he comes in there, he does the same fucking thing all over again. I'm like, fuck them. This is good TV.
Yeah, let's get up to that. Let me speak. This is Rebecca from season 1. This is the one we've been missing. We were grinding with that. Hey, that she's not a so softy. That it's just a relationship. She actually is. She's a badass. Ariana even said, goes with the guy. He's like, seriously, because when they said because there's revealed that the guy was, the guy died. Well, he had 5 kids. He's like, fucking excuse me, I'm the victim. He ain't a victim. And even Rebecca says that.
Victims too, he says.
Is
Get the fuck out of here.
So later on, I liked about that. Yeah, when he actually Tommy has a meeting with the chief, and the county and the sheriff and all that stuff, and he says like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" It's like, here, if this had been any of your goddamn wives or your daughter, you would have put him in the ground. The difference between my son and me, he never would have made it to the hospital. Tommy just lays into me. He's like this is bullshit, and yeah. So everyone agrees. The sheriff and all this stuff says we're not gonna pursue this. And even the chief's like, well, we didn't press charges. Let me shut up, you fucking little faggot. That's what I think of right when I'm. And I'm sorry if I use harsh language because I'm just tired of the little pussyfooting shit. I hate that. The beta.
Remember, don't you think in season 1, this is kind of what initially attracted people to it? Not, hey, yet it's another Taylor Sheridan show. It's the fact that supposedly, and again, not being political other than when it has to be, is that the show initially pointed Rebecca as the modern day pro-green climate, change sort of happy, busy sort of stuff where Billy Bob says stuff about oil and this and that. And that's what really got people's eyes on, hey, wait a minute, they're not being woke in the show. They're kind of poking holes in it, showing you how it really works. I think that was the initial attraction, but the strength of season 1 going into season 2, which to me is better, they have not shied away from what made them successful in season 1. So I would agree with you on that.
Yeah, so it was great to see them actually nutting up and shutting up, and actually backing Tommy on this. Tommy leaves, stuff. He says we're finished, it's like this. I'm leaving. So getting back to basically what Tommy's now was with Ariana and Cooper in the vehicle. Everyone's heading to this oil well, and everyone shows up, and of course it's almost like the funeral, but a more happier version reunion where all
that's
cast
an
members.
Interesting thought.
Yes. Yeah. I think it was episode 4 or 3 that we had the funeral. I forget what it was. It might have been 2, but so yeah, they're all together out there, and of course, Cheyenne says like, man, if I would have known to come out here, I want to kind of car wash. He's like, well, maybe you should have been tailgating me, because and they're all out there. Rebecca's out there too. We got Mustafa Speaks and his boys, the little crew. And then we have Dale, we have Nathan, we have TL, Cheyenne, and we have Ariana and Cooper, and they're all, what's going on? He's like, well, he says, hey, I started something pretty much, yeah, we're now an oil business,
Yeah.
Yeah. And Cooper's like, well, when we started, he's like, you already started, son. He didn't know. Cooper, you're the president, and I'm the vice president, unless you fire me, or CEO or whatever. And I love that little humor there. It's like fuck you, Cammy. And so no, Dale, are you in? And he's like, oh, hell yeah, I'm in. It's like, so are the boys, because he says you'll get 20% of the profit. And he's like, well, that's pretty good for a small business.
Yeah.
And TL is like, what am I? I was like, we're here. You're gonna oversee the drilling. He's like, well, I can't fucking get up there. He's like, you're gonna sit in a fucking chair. You're gonna use a joystick to drive it. And he's like, I don't know how to do that. He's like, well, get Cheyenne. I'm pretty sure she should, because she's good with moving a joystick around. And she's like, good little finger. And then of course, okay, and what's her name says, well, what about me? And so he's like, well, she's like, I don't know, you're still secretary. And he's like, well, you can, be, give her something fancy, a title, what it was for Ariana. And Rebecca was the last one. I love this. Rebecca's like, the pressure down here. He's like, well, fuck it. I've been with you guys, boys, this so far. Might as well stick around.
Yep.
And so they're all going to go into their own oil business. And I guarantee this is not the last you're going to see of Cammy. Demi Moore's character will be back, especially when she finds out what's going on. I don't know if there will be any legal fights over the wells.
Yeah, I think so. She's going to be the J.R. Ewing. I think she's going to be the bad boy, and I love it because remember how we met her. Grief-stricken woman, family friend in a way.
Yeah.
Had to get psyched up, had to deal with those young bitches, in the bathroom. So we're liking her. Then we realized, she might not be making the right decision. Then when she whacks him, you're like, and she's got that bloodlust. Now, which the way she approached, like she said, trying to make him president, treating him the same. Now we get it. It's old school versus new school.
Do you think that they're going to do a time jump, though, when the next season starts?
No. No.
Why is that?
Well, one for continuity, because if they're going to keep some of these storylines fresh and present, I don't think you can have too big of a jump. Whether it's reminding the viewers, us watching it, if we're going to go see, say Ariana, how she's sitting there while they're interviewing her, getting her side of the story, and they're showing on her panties and how she got beat the fuck up bad, and it was a brutal reminder. It was more brutal than the act when we saw it because it was at night. So that to be fresh. Maybe they show her with some bruises at the beginning of the next episode the next time we see her. I don't think they can do like a 6-month jump and things are going on.
Because a 6-month jump. I was thinking maybe like a month or two.
That will feel like a day, I think, for us watching it, So you say time jump, I'm thinking anything more than a week or so would be.
No, I'm not talking about like a 10-year jump or like that. Not
no.
Dead.
But I mean, like if it's all of a sudden next summer and Ansley's, in college now, I think they need to keep that up. But they left it in such a way where they could go a lot of places with, which is what I thought they did well so far.
And they're keeping Cheyenne around too, which is interesting.
They'll have to flesh her out a little bit, no pun intended, because look, I said it before, the show's got beautiful women in it, and some people hate the women on it, thinking they're dumb, they're stupid, or they're trophy wives, or they're airheads, or they're bimbos. Remember Ansley's speech in front of the counselor about, wanting to, basically be good breeding stock, not in a negative way, but just the way it came across, like she doesn't know. But we've seen in season 1 and 2, her and her mom, they have a good heart helping the older
Ainsley's
people.
got good genes, that's why.
You know what? Well said there. Okay. But I do think that there still needs to be that sense of evil. And I just cannot tell with Galeno how this is going to go. When he was talking to his wife in the pool, hey, do you want some breakfast or something? I almost thought, wait a minute. She's the one really in charge, even though he's so machismo, Latino, and proper with her and all that too. Because she's like, no. And, and now she's talking a little bit more. His wife, and at breakfast, he's like, remember to ask her questions about blah, blah, blah. And she's like, no, I know what to do. And I'm like, see, I feel like they're
prying information. Yeah.
Yes, and Cammy, because it was a setup for lunch. It wasn't a girl meeting a girl for lunch doing that. It was not.
No,
man. So no, there's plenty here for them to draw upon. They really tied up stuff. I'm trying to think of loose ends, and it's tough for me, other than Mullet Boy, to really think of too many.
Charlie's the only one. Yeah, he's out for 6 months. He's out on that rig, and so we don't know if that rig's even going to produce or not. Or either they hit gas, and if Tommy said it, even if they do manage to get in there and they find the gas, keeping the seawater out of there, and also you're depending on people who are underwater welders and all that bullshit, and then all the government red tape and shit. He's like, it's not, and then you're on a timeline on top of that too. So mistakes, and you might get people cutting corners. It's like, it ain't worth the gamble. Instead,
about Tommy's father, T.O., being involved now with the
I'm actually him being involved in this. I think it's actually be a lot better, because we've seen Teal kind of sprinkled in here and there at the beginning and the end of the episode. I want Sam Elliott more. Give me more Sam Elliott, because if you've never watched The Ranch, the way he has doing those one-liners and just calls people stupid idiots and shit, fucking morons.
You just made the list.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, seriously, if you've never watched The Ranch with Sam Elliott, you're missing out the best of Sam Elliott's. I love Roadhouse, but shit, the way his character on The Ranch was just like, he's like, I'm too old for this fucking shit, and I love it. He's just a cranky old man, and he had a heart of gold. And I'm seeing a little bit of that character in this, and I want to see more of it.
Let's speculate here a little bit. Cammy,
like I said, as far as Cammy is going, she'll have some sort of part in the next season. I don't know.
I think it has to be bigger.
I agree. I would have loved to be the villain.
So how does her role get bigger? You think? I have an idea.
I think that she strikes gold.
I agree, 100%.
It wins.
There's got to be some initial signs that, despite all odds, it might work.
Yeah.
Because if she doesn't have that weight behind her, then what's the opposition? Her fading out and doing whatever, then we don't care.
She's definitely scoring. She lost a lot of her good workers.
Yeah.
She lost Dale. She lost Nathan. She lost Rebecca.
I forget the guy's name, but the one he had lunch with that we talked about, the guy from Eureka, played by Colin Ferguson or whatever his name is. I'm wondering if she doesn't snap him up to fill that void, to be president or whatever, like Tommy was. Because he's a good actor, and he's been around.
He has his own company. He's in charge of his own company, so
I just think he might be involved more.
Well,
I don't know.
I think he was just kind of a callback, because we saw him in the first episode. when he spoke to him at the lunch and stuff. He may
Mm-hmm.
come back, as a cameo and helping out, Tommy with something else, but I don't think he's going to team up with Cammy. I think
Okay.
Cammy's going to be this bitter old hag who basically has no one. And if she does strike, oil, I honestly, that'll make her even more just insufferable.
I'll say this about her though, and I'm being snarky with you because I know it'll piss you off. Yet I'm going to be serious about it. All of a sudden when she turned heel and we didn't see it, I saw it. You know when? When Handsome touched her.
Yes.
Because it made her feel alive.
Not Hanson Umbop.
No.
Some guy who wasn't even handsome.
You're like, what the hell? That guy's not handsome. He's
no.
Well,
when fat guy touched me.
No.
Yeah.
Ansley and was it Pagan, right? The
Pagan, whatever I want to call it. Yeah.
Sports trainer turn a bit.
Yeah.
I thought she did good. I thought that was a great scene. Like I told you before, there's money in this angle that they could do something with it. I think that's going to continue.
Mm-hmm.
Does it turn sour because Pagan actually becomes attracted to her as a person?
Here's
because
the thing.
She's non-binary and starts having feelings? What do you think?
No. Get out of here for that crap. No. I'm being serious too. Ainsley loves the dick. We saw it in the very first season, all the way through that. She ain't going.
Virgin, though.
She's not. Ainsley's not a virgin.
She is.
No, she's not.
I think she made reference to satisfying boys, but not having gone away, and that's why her and her boyfriend broke up early.
Anyway, she's not.
I'm being serious.
We're not going to.
Represents what men.
We're not going to have that.
You're not ready for this conversation, sir.
No, sir. You're speculating because you're trying to start shit. No. So Ainsley and her friend, yes, they're the whole point of Ainsley going to college and meeting this person was to bring Joe Sheridan wanted to point out was that we may have differences, but we can still be friends. That was a whole entire point, but a point of that scene. So many people were expecting him to shit on and just make fun of the LGBT thing, but instead,
that's my point. I think he's fucking with everybody by doing that.
No, the way it was handled is the fact that this person was kind of selfish, and this person, and I'm gonna call her she because that's what she is. I don't care. I don't play the pronoun game, and this character, Paige admits Ainsley that hey, I was kind of a selfish too because I have a stuff and hey, but I don't hate all music. I just hate the things and she's like, well, music do you like? Well, and Ainsley's like, well, yeah, I don't like a lot of music either too. It's just like, hey, if we can, she's like, can you give the ferret a bath? And he's like, well, I've never tried. It's like, well, right then there, it's like if she gives the ferret a bath, they can at least make amends. And I like that fact, you can be different because I have a friend who's non-binary and he's very not confrontational like that. He's actually a very nice person. It's just that there are for some reason some of these people in their minds think that every LGBTQ person is an angel, a sweetheart, and some of them are just complete rude, and it's the same about anybody what your sexual orientation was, and that's all that we're getting from these episodes is that hey. There was some misunderstanding stuff, and it's a show promotes basically doing the right thing, friendship, being kind to one another, and not being a dick. And so we saw some people who didn't like each other in the beginning, Rebecca and Ariana, who are now on somewhat common ground now. In real life.
I think with Rebecca, not just her standing up, but when she gets the call and she's in the office and she's like, I don't know if you remember me. And she goes, well, yeah, I remember you.
Yeah.
And she goes, I need your help. She's like, you remember the last time we got together? Like how, like you really think I'm
help out.
And she goes, I was raped. And she goes, okay, when you say rape, what do you mean? And she explains it.
Yeah.
Then that look on her face for a moment before she says, okay, I want you to do this. So one of the things, though, about friendships, which I think is a great way of looking at it, the way you've talked about it being positive, because we've lamented the lack of that for quite some time in movies and television, is that when you see somebody flaws and all, you accept them for who they are and you can understand their situation. Doesn't mean you have to agree with it or like it, but you're willing to deal with it. And it's like combat or anything else. When you go through some really tough emotional times together, despite your differences, that foxhole kind of camaraderie lets you come out of there. And a lot of times I think in today's modern society, we see that fracture so much because everybody's more into identity politics rather than what's going over. And just like Tommy said to her, shit, I don't care who you sleep with, but this is what we got to do. And da da da, and it's just, there's the old school mentality, and then the way it's all gusted up now. And I think the show's trying to basically say, like, I don't care what any of y'all think. This is how it really is because it's human nature. And he's reemphasizing it. I totally agree. I think that's a great way of summing up the show.
The way this show ends, though, is Tommy coming home, talking to Angela. Mm-hmm. And he basically tells her about the day, but I don't think he even mentions Cooper being arrested. I think he left that out. I don't remember him saying it to her.
He did. He did not mention it to her.
Yes.
And I don't know that angle is dead yet.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I was disappointed because I told you my speculation was that I thought, on the video they could have went with her kicking it because 17 punches, 27, whatever it is, her walking up to him after he appeared to be incapacitated seemed deliberate, like that was involuntary manslaughter. Now, of course,
so
that's possible fodder for next season.
So he basically goes home and talks to her and stuff, explains what's going on. He says, don't worry. He's like, I got a new job, and stuff, new business stuff. He's like, what? And he's like, and just, and basically them two staring, they're out in the backyard. They're by the fence. The first season, he'd be out there and he'd be staring at the wolves, running around, coyotes over. And this time there's two horses out there, kind of like, and they've been out there for this entire season. Mm-hmm. And they're kind of like almost like they're mates or whatever.
Exactly.
And so two out there, and pretty much she says, like, Tommy is like, it's like I was like, I'm with you no matter what, and like same thing. And he says to her, like, he says, I love you too and stuff. And it's kind of like, and Angela's like, well, I can tell you one thing for sure. I'm gonna go walk in. I'm gonna walk up those stairs, but in my birthday suit. And it's like you'd be crazy not to follow me up there. And she's just like, and she's like, this is the Angela who's kind of dressed down. She's got her white tank top on, stuff, and standing outside.
She's looking her age.
Yeah, she's looking her age, but hey, she actually looks like she looks good. She doesn't look like she's a woman who's trying to be a gold digger. In this, scene, she looked, and she walks in, does the whole Shania Twain pulling the hair back up. And and lets it fly as she walks in, or Cindy Crawford thing, wherever we call it. But Tom is out there and he's watching a horse and he looks over and here comes the coyote. He's like, nope, not today, fucker. You don't get today.
But that was foreshadowing dangers on the doorstep in front of the family house. And two, the one scene too to kind of tie into what you're saying here is when he's flying and in his car on the expressway. You and I have always talked about no CGI and practical effects.
Oh, this was
and
all
stuff during the day, and he's on the Texas freeways, one of them that's really popular and all that, I guess. And he's flying, and he's just like, God damn it! What else are you gonna give me today, huh? Fuck you, basically he's upset.
Yeah.
And there's a fucking major pileup car right in front of him. And you go, oh shit, are they gonna like hurt him or something?
Cuts
whatever.
that car off. They cause that car to flip. Somebody comes to pass. Somebody's already pulled over. He stopped.
Yes.
Somebody brakes. Somebody comes in the middle lane, hits the other person. And I'm thinking,
you got lucky.
Yeah.
And at that point, you're like, yeah, this is bigger than God. This is when the shit's for real. So I like that little callback there where she goes upstairs and he's like, not today, God, you're not going to have me. But there's that warning and the sign of, was it coyote or the wolf or whatever it was out there just staring at him watching. That was on a doorstep. I like that.
That coyote of her first season was when the whole cartel thing was going to happen.
Yes.
Kidnapping.
Overall, love the season. Great way to finish. Give me some final thoughts and anything else about going into season 3 you like. I'll have one thing.
Final thoughts of season 2. I said, started out a little bit slow. Got us to like Cammy, and then Cammy turned out to be the villain. This Cammy is her greed. Just let her. Every time I saw her, she seemed very self-conceited. And it got worse as it went on. And I was reading about an interview with her, and she says Demi Moore, she's not used to doing television, so she's usually when she goes to the role, she knows how it's going to end. She has no idea how she just filmed her scenes, so she's very curious to see what goes on with this series because she has no idea. Movies are different. They tell you what the whole script is. You get to read it and stuff. This you get a little chunks here, little chunks here, and she says she really loves her character. So
I think Demi's doing a great job in it. I really do. With strong women, I mentioned before when we talked about her first presence, I said, hey, there's not a lightweight role cast. There's strong players in all these roles, and even with young people like Cheyenne bringing a lot to it, this is a healthy mix of really good actors.
This is what Taylor Sheridan does. And Yellowstone and stuff. He writes strong women.
Speaking of Taylor Sheridan, the last thing I'd like to say, besides, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you go check out season 1 and 2. It's a great TV show. We're going to be doing season 3 when it comes out next year. I did see on my viewing of this earlier today a quick preview. I'm going to go look up the official trailer here for it. But I'm thinking in March or April, sometime here in the spring, is what I see here in the United States, is he's got yet another show coming out. And the reason why I perked up and looked from the commercial is because some beautiful Vistascapes, looks like Yellowstone or the Great Midwest. And it's Kurt Russell talking, and there's a line, he's in there fly fishing, and apparently he's talking to his wife, who's Michelle Pfeiffer, and he says something to him, it looks like they're an older Asian couple living on the land, says, what is it we're going to do with the rest of our lives before our lives just become what we remember? I thought, fuck, what a great quote. I'm like, I'm going to go see it, bro. And it's older couple, which is different, and I like the fact he gets ideas that cross what we'd call the typical 18 to 55-year-old money segment that everybody caters.
I thought you were going to say you saw a trailer for Noah King.
No. That's, we'll drink when we watch that show.
Yeah, Noah King will be supposed to coming out probably this summer. I'm not sure. Yeah. This show won't be coming back probably till November, because that's what's maybe been to go on. This dropped around November. So first season 1 was around November. So we're gonna have to wait on the whole entire another year. At least, yeah.
Fun show. Enjoyed it. What a strong finish. This is what I'll remember.
What a difference this show is. When you put serious and you add a little comedy versus Tulsking was comedy with hardly anything serious.
Hey, yo, I didn't hear no bell.
Yeah.
Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for showing up tonight. Landman's been very popular for us here on the Extreme Movie Show. If you have any particular requests that you'd like us to review, check us out. We're always live Sunday night and Tuesday nights of various times and requests too. Sometimes the third night of the week, depending on what's going on. RDV's always been with me here. The young 20-something Professor Pixels here occasionally, and he brings a different perspective and all that too. So that's what we like to do here, is just talk about what we thought was going to work, didn't work, what we like.
I'm more the positive guy, thinking guy.
Yeah,
Rob's more negative.
I get very technical, and I look at food, fashion, and sex. So that's kind of where my taste buds are, being an 80s guy. So, call it me cultural, call me deprived. I don't care, but this is what we do. So anything else there, RDV?
No, that's about it. Sunday we have Hannibal coming back at 6:30.
Season 1, the season finale there. Check that out. It's a fantastic show, one of the best written shows I've seen in the past 10, 15 years.
And then Sunday at 7 Eastern, we're going to have the next episode of Fallout review.
Yeah, we're winding that season down. And after that, we might be going to a little Miami Vice, I'm thinking.
I'm thinking so. We should go.
That's time. Right. It's been requested. We've been talking about it for a while. It feels pretty good in the spring.
It's been a year since I watched it, so I have to rewatch everything to remember.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Good night now.
Thanks for watching, guys and girls and dogs and whatever you identify as. But see you later.